It's fucking brownout time. Listen,
Yes.
I'm already done with this. Let's fucking end it. Um, Hello, welcome everyone to the Bibble Babble podcast. Today, we're talking emulation of video games, and it's gonna be a great time. I'm sure everyone cares about three fucking white guys talking about video games. Such a good time. I have with me today, we have Red Rage. Introduce yourself.
Red Rage or Perk FTW.
Absolutely great, fantastic. We got Luke. Go ahead.
Hello, I am the non-stream man at the moment, hoping to be stream man, emulator enthusiast, and all-round tism.
It's good. Good. We want more tism here because it's what makes the fucking talky points, okay? That's how we get into the disagreements.
Yes.
But thank you boys for coming on. I have decided to AI generate another fucking Bibble Babble script, which I'll be reading from. But of course, if you guys have any points or any interesting questions or things you wish to highlight, feel free to butt in and toss those in, you know. But
Thumbs up.
let's get right into the freaking intro. Start with a fun anecdote about emulation, maybe a childhood memory or a recent discovery of an obscure game. Oh, who wants to start with that one, huh? You guys find any recent little emulation times? Any childhood memories of video games flooding back now that you got emulating stuff good?
I still collect games, so I recently actually picked up another obscure game a couple of weeks ago. I picked up. Anyone ever heard of Haunting Ground?
Haunting Ground?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
My wallet was absolutely just crying its eyes out when I paid for that because it was like the equivalent of, I think it's like $150 just for one game in your currency.
Jesus, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then after I bought it, I was like, you know what? Let me just emulate that after buying it, so it's on the shelf.
What the fuck?
Also, we have the man himself.
Hello,
Retro.
Retro. Welcome.
Yes.
Care to introduce
You're doing a
yourself?
podcast. I'm Retrovin. I do videos. I also am somebody who also uses emulation, and I am 100% pro emulation.
Yes.
Oh, what a controversial topic. Maybe I'll have to be the devil's advocate because I'm pretty sure all of us are for emulation.
I'm half and half.
Ooh. I do believe you brought up that you have a actual physical collection of video games, right?
Yeah, I like physically collecting because I don't know, there's something nice having like a shelf or a room or whatever where you can just walk in and you can just be like, pick a game off the shelf and be like, hey, you know what? I have a really good memory about this, and you just pop that sucker in one of the consoles that you have. But emulation this is where the other half and half comes from. The other half is like, you know what? Sometimes it's not feasible to buy these ever grown expensive games, so emulations fills that hole until you can get your hands on that expensive game or whatever.
Or come to terms that you'll never
Yeah.
hold that in your hands.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
I imagine there's also the situation where, like, say you own the games, right? But you don't own the console for the games anymore. Maybe it broke or something. It's good to have emulation to archive those games because eventually every console's gonna go kaput.
Oh yeah, that's a scary thing about it.
If I'm not mistaken, you're also a physical collector, right, Retro? Or
Yes, I have a physical collection. I haven't I put it all on my shelves though to play the emulators.
How about you, Red Rage? Are you also a collector at all? Or
I have a few Xbox 360 games. That's it. That's literally it. Back to that one question, the obscure one. One game I've been playing recently is SpongeBob the movie.
Ooh, that's a
Ooh,
good
that's
As
one.
a good
emulated.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
I gotta ask though, are you guys more of a Battle for Bikini Bottom or SpongeBob the movie type of person?
Oh, bruh. Hot take here. Hot take. Revenge of the Flying Dutchman is the best one. That's
I
a-
have negative nostalgia for that one.
yeah,
I had
it's like-
such a bad time playing
yeah,
that one when I was a
hot
kid.
take. Yeah, I like it.
That's fair.
How does it feel being wrong?
Well,
I mean, that's fair enough. I've never played it personally, so
I mean, I never played the movie game, but like I've played Battle for Bikini Bottom, and that game is chef's kiss.
Yeah, I'm the other way around. I played Revenge of the Flying Dutchman and the movie game and didn't play Battle for Bikini Bottom until years later.
What the? All right.
Red
But can we
Rage.
forget the Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask if Red Rage has any preference on any of those.
Honestly, I like any SpongeBob game that moves. You know,
Like the
That
plug
was
and
good.
play ones,
Good
right?
game.
The leapfrog
Ah.
ones.
It depends. I mean, I like the more the newer ones, like the movie or rehydrated
I was
Battle
about to
for
say
Bikini Bottom.
they
Yeah.
got the rehydrated, and then didn't they come out with another game that's like I don't know. I don't remember the title, but it's like they got crazy new powers or something like that. It's kind of like it's on the rehydrated engine, but it's different.
Cosmic Shake.
Yeah,
Cosmic
Cosmic
Shake.
Shake. Yeah, I haven't played that one yet.
I haven't played it. Briefly explain what emulation is and why it's interesting. So, for all those dumb fucking people out there, if you're living under a goddamn rock, emulation is basically saying, what if I could take this video game, or it's not really the video game, it's the console itself. It is emulating what that the console does, but on a computer or some other program, right? Most people, though, they just use it to play their video games because why wouldn't you? That's basically what emulation is, right? Or does
I
anyone
think-
have anything to add to that?
I think if you wanted to be, like again the TISM side of it and like give it to an exactly what it is,
Yeah.
it's basically people or like programs that are like coded proprietarily, and reverse engineered to function on a system it was never intended to work on, to recreate that console via code
Yeah.
instead of hardware.
Yeah, it's I guess we'd have to see what emulating means, on a deeper sense. We'd have to know what emulating is in order to explain emulation of a console to a computer,
to
Well, I know the
have to be-
term emulating is like you're trying to copy something, right?
Yes.
Like you're emulating that thing.
And there
Yeah.
we go. Yeah, it's literally just copying that over. I find it interesting because I don't know. Growing up, I was very much a console kid. I was like, PCs are stupid. No one's ever gonna fucking want to play on that. Not me especially, right? But as I got older and I got onto the computer and I saw that people could emulate stuff on there, like the GBA and stuff. It's mostly it's letting me play things I would never be able to play before. Like the Dreamcast, that shit, by the time I'm the fucking age where I was with the computers, all that shit is fucking outdated. It's either you have the money to buy that, all the equipment, all the games, all the shit to make it work, or you just get on your computer and you look for a fucking emulator. And I said, I love it, dude. I love it. Lets me do everything I want.
The best part is it costs no money.
That's the best part. That's how I live life. It's if it's free, bada bing, right? Um, that's how I view emulation. Why would I pay thousands of dollars to purchase something physically and have all this shit fail on me when I can just go right to the fucking honeypot and set up a fucking emulator within like 15 minutes, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of physical games kind of, I don't know, they like sell for a lot nowadays.
Yeah. It's good if you're already in the market and you have those games and you plan on reselling them one day. But if you're not, then, you know, it's hard to get into it, you know what I mean? Especially genuine good copies of video games that aren't scratched. You know, it's got everything in the what is it? Is it called a box? Is it still called a game box? Or what's it fucking called?
Case.
A case, there we go. Case. It has the manual, the fucking box art for it, all this other shit. You know, it gets very expensive.
I think from the physical collection standpoint, right? So I collect all the PlayStations and like Nintendo stuff. The most frustrating console to physically collect for, I would say, is the PlayStation 1, just because of that jewel case. Do you know how rare it is to get a PlayStation 1 like complete in box that isn't got like a crack down that jewel case? It's so difficult to get one. And it's also an expensive like console to collect for because of that jewel case. It's frustrating.
That's a good point because like all of my PS1 games have some kind of crack on it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then even if you buy one that's like immaculate condition on the eBay listing, like think about the fact that it has to go through like the postage system, and like it could be fine all the way up until it gets to like your front door, and then as soon as the mailman puts it through the front door and it hits the ground, it's game over.
Yeah.
It's the worst part about collecting for that console.
It's the fragility of it.
Yeah.
Anything you wish to add about that, Red Rage? About you know, why emulation might be interesting to you as well?
Honestly, I just like the fact that you can actually play them, archive them, just keep them there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Benefits of emulation. Playing retro games you might not have access to otherwise, consoles/arcades. I think that's probably the besides being free, of course, that's probably the best reason for emulation, in my opinion. It's not even preservation, it's being able to experience things that you wouldn't be able to, you know.
Yeah, getting to try different games you wouldn't normally play on a regular console.
It's like a good example of that is like recently. So like I have so many consoles already, but the one console I want to start collecting for, but it's not feasible, is the Dreamcast. And being able to emulate it is so much better for me because not only can I play the game, it's kind of like a demo almost. It's like I can play the game and like experience the console before I actually buy it. It's like that's the part I like about it. It's very accessible.
Yeah, it's kind of like a trial in a sense.
Yeah.
Would you say that for you physical collectors, would you say that you know your collection is less about experiencing those things that you buy, but rather the memories you have of them, or the I don't know, just the feeling of having a new game, quote unquote new game, of course. But yeah,
I think for me personally, I like having the games that I grew up through my childhood, but I also, because obviously like I grew up extremely poor. I never even had a console until I was like 16. I was so poor. So now as an adult having like a job, I can buy all the game. Basically, I'm going for like full sets. Like I'm not just like trying to buy games from my childhood or like interesting games. I'm buying like even all the shovelware, and even that kind of excites me because as the more games that I play, like I'm starting to enjoy a lot of the jank as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like my horsey for the Xbox 360, my horse and me. It's yeah, and also I like the satisfaction of feeling like, hey, this is a new game. I've never played this before, and I've not seen anything about it. This is exciting. I'm going into this blind,
Gotcha.
as well as the memories, like the classics like Hit and Run, uh, Harry Potter, and also like even the SpongeBob games, Destroy All Humans, that kind of stuff. I already had memories with that stuff.
Gotcha. I was thinking of whether it was, you collect games for the feeling of, reliving that childhood memory, or if it's distinctly like, well, I can have those memories as well as make new ones with these.
Yeah, it's
Original.
kind of both. It's kind of both for me.
What about
For
you, Red
me-
Rage and Retro?
You can go first, Red Rage.
I barely collect games like that, so I don't know. Back then, just to play them. It was just to play them, buy them, play them. That's it.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to that, it's not exactly because like I like having them. A lot of it is because my grandmother bought a lot of those games for me, and I kind of hold them onto them as like a piece of her memory in a sense.
Yeah, as a keepsake.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Experience games in the original form, graphics, sound. Do you guys feel like emulation does that though?
I don't. I think emulation makes the sound and graphics a lot more crisp than it actually was. There's like a completely different feeling booting up a CRT and like throwing on like a Nintendo 64 game versus booting up like your 1440p monitor and like booting up Project 64. It's like it's kind of different. It's different in a good way, but then from the CRT and like original side of it, it's different in a cozy way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a process, that
Yeah.
feels familiar or feels relaxing, I suppose.
Yeah, it's kind of relaxing. Yeah, turn the lights off and feeling like you're back in the summer of like 2000 and like sitting in front of like your CRT.
Yeah. It's a wanting for an older time that has passed.
Yeah.
An age long gone.
For me, the thing about emulation is that you can make it shitty,
Yeah, you can.
You can. I guess that's the fucked part about it, is that you're bringing up like CRT and scan lines and stuff like that. I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm like, they got options for that in the emulator too. But that's the issue, is that it's all emulated. It's all it's like, well, this is fake. Just letting you know, this is this is a effect rather than the actual thing. I don't know. I guess that's a interesting way about it, is that for a lot of things nowadays they try and emulate the past rather than it emulating the uh, actual thing. It's more of that feeling. People want that feeling more and more. I've been noticing. And it's just crazy to me personally.
I can kind of explain why people are chasing that. I think I don't know if it comes from like a certain age group, but like I can speak for my generation. So we're like I'm the very last year of like millennials. So for us and from friends I've spoken to, it's kind of about like as we are approaching our 30s. It's like I'm a couple years away. As we approach our 30s, it's more like a let's play as many old and like familiar video games as we can before we become 30 and the real adulthood starts. That's kind of like where that mentality comes from after kind of speaking to some of my own friends. That's kind of where they're at and why they're like emulating games and stuff.
That's an interesting way to look at it,
Yeah.
because it's almost like it's a threshold being applied. It's like, well, once we get to this point, no more of this. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's like you're getting out of your cocoon from being a little worm, and now you're a butterfly. You're like, well, can't ever emulate games or can't ever play these old games ever again.
Kind of get where they're coming from. I had that mentality before, but I then realized just because like you're 30, 40, 50, 60 doesn't mean like you have to stop, having that like playing games, because like it's kind of like movies. It's just a form of entertainment. Like, but the world still today even looks down on it. At least that older generation does. So that's kind of why it's like hammered into my generation that, oh, once you hit 30, oh, you have to stop playing those games and start families. That's kind of like just our parents. That's
Yeah.
where their mentality is coming from.
Yeah, that's understandable.
See, I could be 70 or 80 in like a retirement home and I'd still be freaking gaming if I still had a computer or a console.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I would as well.
I've seen, what was it? It was like an old Twitch streamer. He was like 70 or something. He was playing RuneScape. And I'm like,
Oh,
God
yeah, I know
damn.
you thought Tony. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was a good RuneScape streamer. I kind of miss him.
Yeah. I think he's a good example of, the age doesn't define you. You can still just keep playing video games as much as you want. Doesn't
Yeah, I
it
mean,
don't
look
mean
at
jack
the
diddly.
was it the 80-year-old grandmother that played Skyrim,
Yeah.
and now she's getting put into like the next Elder Scrolls game as like a reference, which is interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty nice.
I saw another one like where it was also a grandmother who never really got into games before, but she started like playing like Animal Crossing on her DS and stuff.
Oh,
oh, I
yeah.
know. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret here, right? My own mother, right, as religious as she has a Switch Lite, and she literally has well, I bought it for her. She has the Nintendo Online thing subscription, and she
Yep.
plays like Wave Race and stuff like that on the emulation.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, cause we used to play Wave Race like a lot, like whenever I was growing up. So she likes just putting up a game of Wave Race and like playing as like the fat guy.
Yeah. It's weird to hear you guys talk about like how your parents or how people you know uh that are your guardians might fucking play video games. Because my mom, best she played was fucking solitaire, and then she said, that's it.
It's enough
Video
of
games
that.
are stupid. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, one of the few games my grandmother would play was you guys ever heard of the game Bubble Bobble?
Oh yes.
She used to have that on the NES and she loved that game to death.
That's such an I've not heard anyone reference that game in a long time. That's such an obscure game. At least I think it is. I've never heard anyone else talk about it.
Yeah, I know they had a game like 4 years back, but aside from that, there hasn't really been much about it.
um let's see. Easier access to a vast library of titles and preservation of gaming history. Um my opinion on this is that I completely agree with the whole vast library of titles. Like, it's just good. I love going on to CD Romance or Vim's Lair and just looking at all these dumb different games that I can try out. I think that does leave a little bit of dissatisfaction for people, though, is that when offered more choices, such as like all these PS2 games or something like that, um, if you get into the game and you start playing it and it doesn't hold up, then you feel like your time is wasted. And it's like, fuck me, I hate this. I feel so dissatisfied. I feel like, what was the point of that? So
Took all this time downloading it.
yeah, it took all this time downloading it, figuring out how to set it up on PCSX2. Man, I fucking, ugh, So as much as there is a wide library that's, at your fingertips near instantly, or at least a lot more than waiting for it in the mail or something like that. You know, I I imagine there can be some amount of dissatisfaction, but
I think what people could do, like a good way to sort of like see what games they might want to get ROMs for, is get the ISO for some of the demos that PS2 or PS1 had. There, that way you can test all the games. If you like one of them, download the ROM. There you go.
Yeah.
You wanna hear something? I mean, it may not be interesting to you guys, but speaking about demos and like trying games before and getting upset before you play them. So I can even send you a picture just if you want it for like the podcast thumbnail or something. I have every single PS1, PS2, and just before it got discontinued, PS3 magazine demo disc. And I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes if I'm like, oh, I might download that ISO, or oh, I might buy that this week to play from eBay. I'll actually will put in the demo disc just like the good old days and play it on the console first.
what the fuck is this?
Yeah, yeah.
Man,
Yeah. I'm part. Well, I mean, I guess that covers like the second part. You talked about game preservation.
Yeah.
I'm a massive game preservationist. And if you didn't already know, like, just to show my dedication, I spent like $700 just to get a piece of prototype time splitter software off of a PlayStation. So I love the preservation aspect of it.
anyone else?
Ellipses.
Anyone else feel like they care about this topic before I give my opinion on preservation?
I think I said all I could about preservation, probably.
Are you in support of it? Like, yes. Love this.
I think preservation's good. Now the amount of money it takes to get a lot of them, at least for me, not worth it. But I do believe like if people want to do that, I think that's cool. To preserve games.
What about you, Red Rage?
You asked a question. I had an interesting thought. I think it was about the like how it's like people owning them and then not owning them, and then I was thinking basically when I heard Lukeye talking about it, it's like to me because he's talking about how he's like at the edge of being not even millennial, but like Gen X, if that makes sense. I'm pretty sure if I'm correct.
Yeah,
understanding.
I'm like the very last year, and I'm also a couple of months younger before I went into the next. Like I think it's Gen X, so like I'm like the last holder of millennials.
Well, what I was thinking there is because I'm like a Gen Z. I'm thinking I didn't exactly play a lot of these games. They're older than me, like PlayStation 1 games. I didn't play those. Games before that generation, I didn't even play those. So now I hear about it from the older generations, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a game that I can play now, and I'm like excited because then I get to try it. I get to understand what they were feeling.
Absolutely. For me, it's kind of the same, except I get kind of mad at the fucking older generation because they don't shut the fuck up about it most of the time. Like it's just so many people being like, don't you know this game was great? It was the fucking peak of gaming, and then you go to fucking play it and you got all this hype behind you because all these people have fucking bibble babbled fucking out of their mouth all this shit about the game, and then you play it and you're like, what the fuck is this? This is like, it's not dog trash, but it's like, what the fuck? I was expecting like godhood, but I think that's the issue of nostalgia, is it really affects people and makes them remember a game for being way too good when it probably wasn't.
Yeah, that's what happened when I tried to get Justy to play Jack 2 a while ago. I was like, it's so good.
I'll admit, as someone like who sometimes has nostalgia goggles on, That is true. Like it's like your memory like kind of betrays you a little bit. You're like, oh, it's not. I think the part about nostalgia is like it's not really it's not the game that you're kind of like hyping up to other people. It's more so like the time period, like the memory of that part of your childhood.
Yeah.
And so the game seemed a lot better than it actually was because of the time.
I think it's just trying to be like, I had such a great experience with this, but really it was just the time around that rather than the game itself. It was coming home from school, being able to sit down and take a shit and then eat some fucking food and play your video games, you know? Just a simpler time, if you will.
Yeah, get home, watch some Ed, Edd and Eddy for an hour, play PlayStation 2 for an hour, then go to bed.
Exactly.
That's
I-
another thing the newer generations won't have is like Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, that was the best. Oh, you know what? I'm falling down the nostalgia pit already.
See?
It was an acceptable time.
Man, like, I don't know. It's not even devil's advocate time. This is just the trusty moment. I don't see the nostalgia for it. Like I guess that's a lie. I'm a little bit flip flop right now. I can see it. I just don't believe in it. You know, it's a remembrance of a good time. But if all you can do is just look back to the past, then when you gonna ever look to the fucking future and I don't know, make better memories, motherfucker? Still gonna be remembering when you were a little tiny squib of a kid, being like, "Oh, I was playing video games and having a shit poop time as a kid." When you're 50 or something, gotta make good memories now and in the future.
I'll be 50. I'll be like, I remember Crash Bandicoot.
I think that's my only dislike about um a physical game preservation is that I don't know. If it's an actual fucking place doing it, you know, fair enough. I appreciate it. But if it's just like personal collectors, I'm just like, dude, what is this? And maybe it's because I'm one of those types that doesn't really hold on to any value in something or, you know, people, but I just go with the flow. Um, but it just, for some weird reason, for me, it's just, oh, why hold on to all of this stuff that has happened in the past? But that's that's apples to oranges, you know. It's a matter of preference at that point, and I know there's a lot of feeling behind it. Um, shall we move on to the next category, boys?
Yeah.
I'd say we're pretty set.
All right. Emulation for different platforms. Discuss popular emulators for specific consoles: NES, SNES, PlayStation, etc.
ECFX2.
Yeah, that's a good one for PlayStation 2. Duck Station for PlayStation 1.
Remember EPSXE?
Oh,
Fucking
bro,
PS1.
that's unlocked a core memory. That was the emulator, and then like I don't know, something happened like when they just stopped like improving it, and it just became so terrible. And then Duck Station came out.
It became such fucking dog shit. It was like,
Yeah,
what is this, man? I have to, like, even PCSX2 1.6 or the regular version, you know, before nightly, like, at least with that, you could still kind of like pop in games. You could have a library, you could have like previously played, so that way you can just go right up to it and click it, you know. But EPSXE, it's like, dude, it just didn't want to function most of the time, and it glitched out a whole lot as well.
yeah. It was mostly just like a little list, like a grid list of games, rather than like a little gallery sort of thing, which is a lot better, I think.
I think the worst part about it was like exiting the emulator.
Oh yeah,
Because I
yeah.
remember when I used to use it, whenever I tried to X out, they have like the box, right, that says like, do you want to exit? Yes or no? You can't see where the mouse is.
yeah,
How are you
yeah.
supposed to click on that?
Yeah, that was I hated that.
I'm so glad for Duck Station and PCSX2 Nightly now. They are peak. They are lovely. I love them so much. They're beautiful.
I kind of hope that this isn't like a topic in the future of this, but like I have an opinion about emulation and like the way the your games display. So you guys know what front ends are, right? It's
What
like
is that?
so you basically right. So a front end. So I'll give an example, right? I have a lifetime membership to Launchbox, which is a front end. So what you do is right, you set up. So you obviously you download all your emulators as normal, and then you set them all up to your preferences. Bada bing, bada boom, and then you go into the front end like Launchbox, and you go into the settings. You define where all your emulator paths are, and then what it does is it quite literally you can press a button, or even you can set it so that when you boot up your PC, it launches into it, so it looks like a kind of like a PS3 XMB or whatever style you downloaded for it, and you use your controller like to just scroll through it. It's like it just makes everything more like all your games display better and a lot more accessible, and also downloads updates on the fly in the background for all your emulators rather than having to do it per emulator. And also, when you exit a game, it goes back to the front end rather than just back to, like the emulator itself.
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about RetroArch?
Yeah, that's a front end. Yeah, kind of like that. I prefer that sort of thing because it just makes it a lot easier to do it. But obviously, if you're already a PC user, it becomes a bit, oh well, I'm already using my PC. Why would I need that? Sounds like more like if you're on like the couch sort of thing. But I don't know, something simplistic about it.
It condenses it all.
It does, yeah.
Less complicated.
Yeah, and you don't have to put up different emulators. You just select your category of game, like PlayStation, Dreamcast, put it up, and the front end already knows what emulator to use, and it has all your settings for you.
Yeah. I think those are
I
nice.
like that.
They're nice as long as you don't need to go in and fiddle around with the options, like some PCSX2 games, you gotta go around and fuck around with settings to make them operate at the peakest kind of performance and stuff. So
I had to do that with the game recently.
yeah.
It was oh, go ahead.
But for that front end and specifically, I don't know about RetroWatch, but the good thing about that is if you need to do that, you press escape and back button depending on what controller you use, or start and select, and you can do all your settings with the controller, which is what I like. You can do it on the fly, but obviously, I don't think you can escape having to do settings for certain games. I think that's just the way emulation is sometimes.
Yeah. It's there's going to be a certain degree of like manual user input and having to actually set it all up. It's just how it is. I think one emulator that I want to get more into, but I don't know. That's the caveat of it as well. Is I think we've experienced a time where games are going to just be where like a physical kind of sense, like going into the PS3 times, right? There's still a lot of games on there that's like, well, I actually need the console or I need to play it on the RPCS3 because this game never came out on anything else. But there are some games on there that's like, well, actually, this is a game that's on the PC, like Minecraft is on there. It's like, why would I ever download the RPC3 version of Minecraft when I can just play it on the computer, right? Unless there's like a specific version or something like that. But going into the future, right? Like PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series Bibble Babble, whatever. I feel like there won't need to be too much of a reason for emulation. Maybe like a few reasons, like exclusives, of course. But I think going forward into the future, there will be less emulation and they'll just be uploading the games to the PC equivalent, which would probably be like Steam or something like that.
Yeah, because like every Xbox, I know for Xbox and a lot of PlayStation exclusive, a lot of them just get straight up ported to PC at this point now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, why even bother emulating it when you can just freaking. I guess that's another. Maybe this should have been titled the piracy episode, because like, at that point you could even just like illegally download it for free on the PC, So if the free aspect of emulating isn't there, you can still just go to Steam Unlocked or any other website like that where just download it, I suppose. Let's see.
That's kind of where I start having disagreements, right? So I think Steam Unlocked and all this other stuff is fine, so long as you're. I don't know, like I don't hate people or have any issues with people who can't afford games or whatever, like using that kind of stuff. But me personally, I always think it's good to buy the game at least after let's just say you pirate a game and like you play it for a while. But like I think it'd be better if like you eventually bought the game to support the game developer.
Yeah.
Just because piracy has became such a major issue that like even game studios have had to close down, like little small indie studios, because of it.
Yep.
And then also on the other side of it, it's also made developers work harder to make their games better, so people don't pirate it. So it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. But when it comes to retro games specifically, I will never agree with people not owning the game when they're emulating. I just don't. I don't know. There's something. I have a bad feeling about that. I think people should own the games that you emulate, because then companies like Nintendo will just fuck off eventually.
I don't think they would.
Yeah, that's the dream, but yeah, I don't think they will either.
Yeah, they'd just be like, well, you don't own the copy on the Switch, so goodbye. I think we will be able to touch more onto the legality of it. I see a specific topic called emulation and legality. We'll keep on moving on. I think this next point is something we already covered though, which was mention multi-emulators that can handle multiple platforms. I don't know what that means. I think it
Multi-emulators?
I think it's just RetroArch is what it's trying to talk about.
Yeah. Well, RetroArch is a front end though, but like if that's probably what it means. Yeah. Like a lot of front ends have like cores for them.
Unless it means like the Dolphin emulator, which has not only the Wii but also the GameCube.
Yeah, that may be what it's talking about. I think that's the only one of its kind though, is it not, that has two emulators in one?
Yeah, because like, it's you can't really load up a PS1 game on the PCSX2, from my understanding at least.
Yeah.
Like
I have done it before, but I will say the results are not very good. It's very glitchy.
That's what I mean, is that like the original hardware, the PS2 could do that, but I think for PCSX2 they're like, well, fuck that. You want PS1? Go get the PS1 emulator, dipshit. Red Rage. It's been a while since you said anything. Is there anything you want to add on to it? Maybe.
Honestly, I'm gonna put it quite simply. Won't be giving a fuck. Fuck them game developers. Get fucked.
What the fuck? Now, why would you say something like that?
At least what I find in America, I don't know, but or North America, all these main, I feel like the main idea of what these like big what's the word I'm looking for, like not studios, but like they confirm whether the game gets like put out.
Publishers.
Publishers, yeah. I don't necessarily like them necessarily because I'm fine with the game developers. It's just those guys, the publishers, that keep fucking games over and making people make trash games over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's my issue. Because now we're getting expected with bad games that aren't good, and the only thing I see worth it is basically just parroting them because you're not making anything great. And then I feel bad on the other end of things because the studios, the developers, they're not getting shit out of that.
Yeah. And
that opens a whole different topic.
So it's basically for AAA kind of games, right? Like,
yeah,
those people are kind of ruining the whole game development of things.
Yeah.
Publishers just say, hey, we need this out in like 2 months. Let's get it fucking rolling, dude.
I think, you know what the issue is regarding the game industry? You know what? Maybe that's getting a bit off topic. I don't want to take this off topic, but just to make it about the game industry.
I mean, we're discussing it.
Yeah, I'll say this point very quickly. I think the problem between indie games and AAA game studios, in this day and age, is media outlets such as like the Game Awards, PC Gamer, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of run an age where it's being hailed as, oh, we love indie games. Let's showcase them as much as possible. And then on the other hand, it's like, oh, AAA games. Isn't that cool that we can make really cool and amazing like functioning games? And it also makes it so that like the AAA games can also put a spotlight on indie games, which isn't true. I feel like these big AAA games are taken away from the indie game market by their even just like with their advertisement campaigns. Like it just trumps the indie like campaigns that go on. Because like if you look on Steam right now, right? If we just click on Steam, obviously the summer sale's on right now, so we'll just ignore that. If you look at the very top, right, the games that are like on display front and center, and the first 3 games, they're all AAA: Cyberpunk, Grand Theft Auto, and Star Wars. You go to the next list, Rainbow Six, Tekken 8, and we've got one. I don't even know if I would class Ready or Not as an indie game. I think that's made by a decent studio size. And then you go to page 3, and you've got FIFA, Elden Ring, and Mario Lords. So by the time you get to an indie game like Enshrouded, your 4 page is deep. So like these indie game, these AAA games are pushing these indie games to the bottom of the pile while saying AAA games are good for the game industry and for indie games, which is ridiculous. That's my thoughts on it.
I personally, I fucking hate AAA. I hate AAA the most. Like, whenever I see people fucking cream themselves over AAA games, they're like, oh, dude, did you see the fucking trailer for this? This is so cool, dude. I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, fucking enjoy your fucking flop of a pancake, dipshit. Most games nowadays, especially from AAAs, they feel not completed. They feel so fucking incomplete. And because these people who are just creaming themselves over the potential of that game becoming a reality because of all the false promises that a AAA fucking, not studio, maybe it's the publisher who's doing it, but because of the promises they make and then undersell, those people just eat it up and they support it anyways. And I think that's why so many games are pretty poo-poo doo-doo ass. And it's not like, oh, fucking new games suck ass, dude. Fuck that. Let's all just go back to emulators and play those forever. No, I'm not saying that. Because here's the second part. Indie games are peak. They are fucking fantastic nowadays. There are so many indie games that I love to bits because there's actual care and effort, and it's, they obviously have a target audience, and I don't know. Sometimes it can be hit and miss. Don't get me wrong, but the mid to high kind of indie game studios know how to do good. That's just my.
Yeah.
I think the true success story, well, not a definitive success story, but a true representation of how good indie games can be is games like Binding Isaac. I mean, look at that. Look how big that is now. Everyone I know talks about it.
That's
And
my
it's an
favorite
it's,
game.
and it's an indie game. Like it's made by one person or a couple of people now. But that is an example of what happens when and this is gonna sound political, but this is what happens when the machine of advertising and publishers get behind cool games like that. Now everyone knows about Binding Isaac, and it's such a good little indie game.
Yeah. Well, what about 7 Days to Die? Is that also indie people?
It's not my thing, but like watching videos, looking at reviews, talking to people, like that's probably is another good indie game. But I think that indie game has suffered with development hell.
Yeah.
I think it's taken years between updates. Which yeah.
I think it's just like it's substantial that even an indie game, because I can remember when it first came out, it was like dog shit, dude. It was horrible. It still kind of is sometimes. But just the fact that it came out all that time ago and there's still such a avid fan base for it that are just ready for the big release of 1.0, and they're like, "Ah, this is fantastic. We love this," you know. It just goes to show that you don't need to be AAA to be good. And in fact, I feel like if you do have the mark of AAA, it's not even a 50-50 anymore. It's more like a 75-25, with the 75 being like you're gonna end up like a shit little game, dude. Sorry to say. That's just my professional opinion, you know.
I mean, talking about like early access games that go live, another game that is an indie game, even though sometimes I think people forget. Satisfactory. That game, like I played that when it came out a good number of years ago. That was so bad. It was like a Minecraft ripoff, and now look at it. It's like the 1.0 comes out in September, and the game is like so much further than it used to be, and it's such a fun, enjoyable game. If you're into like factory stuff,
Absolutely.
it's like the gold standard of crafting games.
Yeah.
It is interesting to see like games like indie games like that evolve from where they began.
Yeah.
And I'll just finish up on it and say that I feel like if an indie game struggles, it kind of makes sense, right? They don't have the cash revenue, maybe the team work or the amount of employees to make it great right off the bat. But fucking AAA, it's like they have all the cash, they have all the fucking necessary things, and yet they still pump out garbage, you know? It's like you're supposed to be better than this. It's if I can get a little bit of a within the flesh moment, it's kind of like fucking indie games are like teenagers, you know? They have outbursts, they have fucked up moments where they're like shitty and all that. And then it's like AAAs are the adults, right? And you're expecting them to be professional, be, a fucking adult, be functioning, right? But then they have these fucking teen fits and they're fucking broken. Like, what is this, dude?
You look at Minecraft. That used to be indie, now it's technically a AAA. That's a good example of how an indie game can be picked up by the machine of game studios.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys want to talk about this one. Briefly touch on mobile emulation and its considerations. I'm gonna vote.
Mobile emulation, like handhelds.
I think it means like mobile phone.
Oh, I mean, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I have some history of mobile emulation. Um, I used to play an the N64 emulator. I can't remember what it's called. It's like it was for Android. I used to play that every single day for like 2 years on my way to work. Uh, And mobile emulation has came like, quite a long way as well, I have to say. Like they've got a PS2 emulator on there now, and it works pretty well.
Damn.
It is really good, but you need like obviously the latest phone to play it.
Yeah.
Whereas with like PC emulation, you don't. Like you just need an acceptable system. So I think mobile emulation's kind of. I think mobile emulation has been superseded by things like the Steam Deck and the Switch.
Yeah.
So it's getting there.
Yeah. I don't know if it counts as mobile emulation, but before I got a PC again, I was using my PlayStation Vita to emulate a lot of games. And a lot of them ran pretty good, except for the I had a little bit of issues with the Dreamcast emulator.
Yeah, I'd say the Vita counts because it's a mobile device. There's a difference between mobile and cellular. So I'd say it counts.
Fair enough. Red Rage and
I kind of have an issue with mobile emulation. At least at first, when it first came out, I had a lot of the issue with a lot of the emulation that I saw. At least was all paid. Why are you making a subscription bullshit? Like, come on, guys.
I'll agree with you on that one. The PS
on
emulator's
PC,
paid.
It's like, come on, guys. Let's not do that. Let's just have it out in public, open source, so people can just tinker if they want to. Simple as that. I don't respect that type of stuff, but that's a whole different topic. But mobile emulation, I like it. I respect.
I think it's poop. Sorry to say, but it's true. I don't know. It's good if you're a little baby. I don't know. Eventually, you got to get on the computer and realize that God wanted you there, and He made it for you to emulate good on PC. You know,
God has a plan for you.
God has a plan for all of us, and it's to no lies that the PC is the master race because it can emulate good. You know.
This is some neckbeard conversation territory now.
Fuck you.
Mobile emulation bad, PC good.
It is. Fuck. Listen here, motherfucker.
I think it's just. I think they're just completely different.
Completely different because one's better than the other.
No, they're completely different because one's meant to be used on the go outside, and one's for inside your house.
I'm gonna be honest. Fuck all these mobile, like, if you got a Steam Deck, fuck yourself. If you got a Switch, kill yourself, dude.
Alright.
I'm just saying, fuck you people. People be like, I have to go and do something all across the country. Better bring my fucking emulator with me. Shut the fuck up, dude. When you get home, you can play video games. You're on a fucking business trip, dipshit.
What the fuck? Yeah, but you have downtime on business trips though. Like you're in the hotel alone on like after work.
Contemplate your life. Maybe pray to a higher power. No lies your soul. Be like,
I'll pray for your fucking downfall. You keep mentioning fucking that in a bad light.
I'm just fucking saying. I'm just saying.
Just sitting in there thinking about what you could be doing if you had a computer.
Let's be honest, okay? We all go out, and you know what? If you're not out there for like a little trip to the store, I'm just saying, most of the time, people are fucking out and about because they gotta go do some shit, right? Once they do this shit, you wanna know what they do? They don't fucking sit at a park and yank their little ding dong, you know? They don't sit in the car and be like, oh, I'm in a car. They go the fuck home because that's where all their devices are. They got the TV, they got the computer, they got their consoles, right? It's all there at home. But I will say, I guess, if you're on a long business trip, that maybe it could work out there. But even at that point, I would argue people are probably just going to fucking throw up YouTube or throw up a movie that they fucking want to watch or a podcast they want to listen to. Hey, make sure you listen to the Bibble Babble podcast. Thank you. Anyways.
I think that's a point. There's a point to be made that it's preference because I don't know about you, but I don't get like if you're on like a business trip or something, right? Or like it's kind of like the same as like if you get home, except you're in a hotel room, because like obviously after work you're going to the hotel and you're chilling and you're doing what you normally do at home, except you're not at home, like you're in a hotel. So like what do you do when you get home? You either, for some people it might be playing a video game like me, and
Yeah.
like watching YouTube after you've played a video game for an hour or two. And for some people it might just be you don't play any games, you just watch YouTube. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll make
think it's
one
different.
exception. One exception. If it's a business trip where you have to stay at a hotel or some other place, like it's an overnight business trip or something like that. Because if you're on holiday, it don't make sense. You're there to
Well, if you're on
fucking
holiday, that's a little bit different.
Yeah,
that
that's-
again is preference though. That's my point. Like if you're on holiday,
well,
you
it's
should be
all
enjoying it.
preference. You know, whatever I say, I'm not fucking saying that's fact. That's fact. Shut the fuck up. I'll disagree with anyone who doesn't agree with my opinion, of course, but you know, this is just my preference. Is that the only thing I believe where it's reasonable is if you are staying somewhere and it's a business trip. So you know, you may as well play some fucking video games. It's a good time. You know, I'll
What about
agree
on like
with that.
what about like long train rides or like moderate train rides to and from work where you're doing nothing?
Yeah. I'll agree with that. If it's an overnight trip, though.
So not if like you're going to work during the day and going home again.
No.
So, like what do you do on long train rides? Do you just like watch YouTube or something?
I'd probably throw on a podcast. Probably try and take a nap.
All right.
Nap time, motherfucker. Is there anything else before we get into the emulation and legality?
Let's hit it with the legality.
All right. Acknowledge the legal gray areas of downloading ROMs.
Jesus, this is gonna get divisive very quickly. Legal gray. This is the thing, right? Legal gray areas, like. I'm sorry, but like, I understand it's like digital and it's online, but like, if you, right, okay, let's just imagine, MU Paradise, not even MU Paradise. What's
Oh,
a
that's a
current
dead site.
what's a current site like CD
CD
Romance?
CD
Right,
romance.
right, CD Romance, right? Let's just say CD Romance is a Walmart, right? A digital online Walmart, and like you take, let's just say you take an apple from the digital Walmart, and you also take a ROM from CD Romance. Now, no one can see you taking these apart from the people that own the site. But if the tables were turned and these are both physical locations, you would get in trouble for it. So I don't think there's any grey area to be had. I just think it's people can't see you doing something. People can't see you doing something illegal. So what's grey area about it? You're stealing, but like no one's watching.
I've stolen from Walmart when I was a little boy. So yeah.
Kind of get the point though. Like there's no grey area about it. It's just that no one can see you do this. There's no greyness about it. It's stealing but not being seen.
Well, you could talk morals. Is it morally acceptable to pirate games or to download ROMs from ancient times like the NES or even the Atari? Do you feel like that is still theft at that point? If I download Pong without ever having owned a copy of Pong?
I think that's where we start to get into the grey areas of abandonware is a grey area, right? Abandonware is different. Abandonware is you physically cannot get a hold of that, and it's been the publisher or whatever no longer like supports it or has it anywhere. So that's fine. That's where the grey area starts. But like I'm talking about like more like AAA and games that even have got like remakes and all that for them.
Yeah, but how long until, you know, a ROM becomes where, you know, it is abandonware? You know,
Well, if you
exactly
look up the
what is-
definition, it'll probably tell you because I probably couldn't tell you. But like there's criteria it has to fit to become abandonware.
What? I will actually go take a little look see real quick. I want to see
It's
what
something.
it is.
It's something about lack of support. I can't remember, but it's something to do with that.
What makes something abandoned? Where? A product, usually software, that has been abandoned by its owner or manufacturer and is no longer available for sale or support. Would you agree upon that?
That wording is very strange because if that's the case, then you can literally just
Well, that's the
you just
AI one.
download anything.
That's the AI one. We could go with the actual one. Abandonware is a product, typically software, ignored by its owner and manufacturer, which can no longer be found for sale, and for which no official support is available and can't be bought.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'd agree that's abandonware.
Then I truly suspect what would be abandonware at that point. Like if let's go with the Pong
It's usually,
example.
right, you know what it is? I can tell you exactly what the definition is in simple terms.
Right.
So when they say no longer supported and all that kind of stuff, it's more so like if a game studio is defunct and no longer exists, and there's no physical way for them to no one else like owns a license to it. It died with that game company, or like there's like it's not been there's no remakes, there's no license and currently held for it. It's kind of like it's that kind of criteria, like
So
literal abandonware because the company doesn't exist.
so in a technicality, since Atari still does produce remixes of their games or vaults, I think they actually came out with a 25th or 50th vault edition lately. Would that technically mean that downloading the original Pong means that you are technically stealing then?
Is it in one of the Atari remixes?
I don't know. Let me go take a look.
If it is, and Atari owns the distribution license to it, then yeah. It
Atari
kind of
50, the anniversary celebration of Pong.
well to answer like the overarching whole point of this, like yeah, abandonware is the grey area that I agree with, but like anything else, like CD romance type of stuff, no, I'd say it's stealing without being caught. So I'm not saying it's like you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying like, oh, you're a terrible person for doing it, but like, I just feel like people get grey area stuff twisted a lot. It's not grey area; it's just stealing without being seen. And
Right. They try to
that's
apply gray area to a black and white situation.
basically yeah, and that's up to your own moral. That's up to your own morals if that's okay for you. Some people it's not, some people it is. But like, I'm not gonna judge someone for pirating a game because like we've all done it. I've done it, and sometimes I still do it.
How do you
And I also
feel?
buy. Huh?
Oh, sorry. I was about to say, how do you feel
No, it's
about
just,
that retro?
okay.
So with emulation, I'm a little more lenient on it, I would say, in terms of my opinion. With you can even go up to like PS2. I really don't think it's a big deal if people download ROMs for it because again, they're not really being sold anymore. The only area where I would have a problem with it is like if somebody was emulating like I don't know, the Switch or something because that's a current system. That's my criteria.
Yeah. When was the Switch released, though? That's the real question.
2017.
2017.
Yeah, it's been a long time between between revisions.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Um, you know, it's tough to really say when it's okay or not okay. Well, it's never okay. You know, if you're viewer, if you're watching this, don't ever emulate. Don't ever download a ROM. Okay. But in my preference, uh, I think the real scummy stuff is like the video games that just released. You know, and people are like, "Oh, I got it before before it even was released physically." So, yeah, I'm playing it right now. You know, it's like, okay, well, that's kind of fucked, isn't it? You know, um, but for me, it's like I don't, I don't give a flying fuck about the availability. Okay, um, I'd say maybe 3 years max, 3 years, and then I can fucking take a little chunk out of that. I can take a little bite, and be like, I'm gonna download this fucking ROM. You know, I don't know. I It's tough, I suppose. to when the threshold is met. I don't.
There's also
Right.
there's also an argument about piracy is discouraging game devs from making terrible cash grabs. But then on the other side of that argument, it's like, yeah, well, they're only making cash grabs because like people are pirating games. It's like a paradox.
Yeah, it's which came first? Was it the piracy that caused the cash grabs, or was it the cash grabs that caused the piracy? You know, I'm always in the opinion of the individual. I think studios, once they finally realized, hey, wait a second, video games aren't for some fat, greasy nerds anymore. It's for everybody practically. Let's sink our little claws in and be real fucking scummy about it. I think that's where they fucked up, and why piracy is more prevalent now than ever. It's because they say, you're gonna be fucking shit scummy little studios. Fair enough. I'm gonna be a shit scummy little person. I I don't really agree with the tit for tat, but I can see why people would pirate with how things are going, I suppose. But
Yeah, almost as like a protest of sorts.
yeah, like like not if a person who made a movie they did some real shit scum tactics and people pirated the movie instead, it's directly cutting off any kind of it's still consuming the product. I think that's the most weird thing about that, when it comes to kind of pushing back against these tactics. It's that people will be like, I'm not gonna buy it, but I'm still gonna consume it. It's like, just don't fucking consume it at all if you don't agree with the practices or something like that. It's like how people everyone was bitching about microtransactions, and then people just kept buying games that had microtransactions, and nowadays it's like, it's still not accepted, but it's a lot more tolerated, you know?
Yeah.
Briefly mention ripping your own games as a legitimate option.
I rip my own games sometimes. So that kind of feeds back into what we just talked about there. Like, downloading ROMs from websites for games that you own is more than okay. Like you own the media, but sometimes, I mean, we all know some of these websites. It's kind of like a don't bite the hand that feeds you situation. It's like you can't really complain about the download speeds, but the download speeds can be awful. So in some cases, it's better just to rip your own game if like the download's going to be horrendous, or if you have bad internet. I do that sometimes.
I guess it would kind of go into the topic of, do you actually own the video game though, or is what you paid for the CD and the the case that it came in,
Yeah. Well, it says on every like loading screen and like game box usually, it says that the software is copyright of X company and that kind of stuff. So technically, I think it's safe to assume that you own the case and the disc, but not the software on it because it's copyrighted.
Yeah, exactly. That's the fuck part about it, is that if we're talking about owning, I'm not gonna be like Russia or anything like that right now, but in terms of owning, um, people only own up to an extent, it's never like the actual thing itself. You'll never truly own it. You'll own a form of it, but never, deep to the core,
Yeah, you're not like a shareholder on said product.
Yeah.
You own the sum of the parts, but not the part itself.
You can I don't know. It's like if you if you bought spaghetti from a restaurant, and then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and copy this spaghetti and give it to my friend. the chef comes out and he's like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing? I made that spaghetti for you." Or
Or it's like when you order from the kids menu, but you're an adult. People have a fiffle about that one sometimes
yeah.
at restaurants. They're just like, it's a smaller portion, just let me have it.
yeah, it's like, oh, you're not a fucking kid, are you? Fucking piece of shit. Or if you tried modifying your spaghetti, you pull out some fucking Parmesan, but the restaurant doesn't provide Parmesan. It's like, you're modding your
meatballs.
spaghetti. How fucking dare you? I made that. You're not allowed to touch it. You're just supposed to eat it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love spaghetti hacks.
the heck's good.
Spaghetti rum hacks. Add some meatballs.
Encourage listeners to research copyright laws in their region. Hey, listeners, I encourage you to research copyright laws in your region.
Yes, don't take anything we've said as factual information.
Yeah, don't just because I say I don't mind downloading ROMs, even if I did not ever own the game. Don't think that's a right. That's like a go ahead, kids, go fucking do it.
These acts of emulation are performed by professionals.
Please
Don't
don't
try
can't
this
do
out.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Advanced emulation techniques. Briefly discuss save states, fast forward, rewind features. Now that's a good time for me. I feel like that's like where that's like a modification of the game, it's like I can literally save whenever the fuck I want. Like I remember brief little story. I remember emulating the Game Boy Advance on my computer, my old shitty one, and I was like, wow, I can save state whenever and load back to it. This is epic. And I was always like, why wouldn't Nintendo do this? And then when they started finally porting their old games onto the newer consoles, they actually did include that feature of save states. So
Yeah, that was a win for like everyone, to be honest, when they started doing that.
yeah,
Not trying to praise Nintendo, but like I feel like emulation's a result of that.
yeah, absolutely. That's at least one positive of emulation, baby.
Yeah.
Also, welcome Xeno to the uh, Bibble Babble podcast, where we are discussing emulation.
Emulation?
Yeah, emulation of video games.
You mean us fighting back against Nintendo?
Okay. I knew that was gonna I knew this would happen eventually. Yeah.
See,
No.
I'm not for that. I'm on the individual side. I'm here to fucking play video games. I'm not like, we gotta make a stand against these people. It's just like, I see something I like, I want to play it. I don't have the money. I'm just gonna emulate it. um, what's your opinion on save states, fast forward, and rewind features that emulators have, but Nintendo or other Sony doesn't have for their older games?
The ability to have multiple saves is nice.
Yes.
I think every game should have that's like meant to have saves should have the ability to have multiple saves. So that way you can try different things, and especially if it's an RPG game.
Yeah.
Especially then, because then you can try out different play styles or different option paths or anything like that. But for save states, I don't really care. If people want to cheat, they're gonna cheat.
I think they're really good for like the older games, like the old games where everyone was on crack apparently and everything was super difficult. I think those are nice. I particularly don't use save states that much anymore. I don't know. I just was like, what's this do for me? I'm basically a little cheater, man.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
mention upscaling filters and graphical enhancements retro visuals.
That can get a bit. I don't know. I think graphical enhancements are good sometimes, but I feel like certain games just were not designed to be in that way. Like for instance, if you're let's just use Perfect Dark for an example, right? Not the Xbox not remake, but like re-released on their own emulation thing. Like if your Perfect Dark looks absolutely horrible with graphical upgrades on it. It just it you could see like you can see the jaggies even with anti-aliasing turned on. You can see the jaggies very clearly, and it just doesn't look good. It looks better like in its original form. That's like one of the few situations where graphical enhancements don't actually enhance. It's just it kind of hinders it a little bit.
I agree with that. As a comparable situation, it's kind of like gonna be a little bit of a weeb moment right here, but it's like when they translate stuff. There's a difference between translation and localization. You know, I feel like some of these games, when they increase the graphics, it's the translation. It's very, technical. It's just like A to B. We up the graphics. It looks horrible, but we did it. Whereas a localization would be if they upgraded the graphics while also considering the software or where the game came from to make sure that it also looked good while also being higher definition.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to add to that, or
No, about
So
it.
sorry, I was BRB. What would you like me to add on to?
mention upscaling filters and graphical enhancements for retro visuals?
I think that's a nice option to have if you want to get that sort of, classic vibe to it. For most people, though, like, unless you have, like, nostalgia for that kind of style, there's not really a point to it, technically.
Right. Yeah. For me, that's probably the reason why I don't really support remasters or anything like that. I forget what the other term is called.
Oh, remake?
Yeah,
Oh
remakes or
yeah,
remasters.
we're
don't-
in.
I think there's plenty good remaster or remakes. Remasters I think are kind of stupid because all it's doing is just like fixing a few visual issues and then just rehashing the same game for $60 again.
In
Whereas
some
a
cases, you
remake-
have more. Oh, go ahead.
Whereas a remake is like, completely from the ground up. They've remade the whole game, look a specific way again while maybe changing a few things or fixing a few things that were broken before. Kind of like with one of the most recent Resident Evil games, where they did a remake for it and then they fixed a lot of the fucking issues.
See, I don't agree with either, because remaster is like, when it comes to emulation, to bring it back to that, you can literally just get that on most emulators nowadays. You can upscale the textures to like 720 or 1080. I feel like that's at least where it should be. If you're going into like 4K resolutions, I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's a fucking old game. Let it rest or shit. I don't know why you're going that far up, but yeah, you can literally get that. But remakes, I also don't agree with, because you want to know what we call that? We call those mods, and you can just put them on games for free, dude. Why do I get charged so much money just for modifications of a video game? Congratulations.
I don't know if you expect this answer from me, Justy, but I actually agree with you on that. I think it's I think if you're gonna if you want to make a game in a game series, it's better to just make a new entry rather than like try and rehash the old one. Even though remakes are supposed to basically remake the original like design idea. If we look at Resident Evil 4, and I streamed that for a little bit and I even completed it recently. That game is identical in level design and collectibles in principle. All it is just it looks better and it's on a new engine. And the same with God of War, like the God of War remake. That I don't know if anyone played the original God of War, like for the PS2.
I did.
I loved the original.
But that is one of the very few examples of they just did a completely new a new story. That's what I'm looking for. I'd consider the God of War remake a new entry in the series because the story was completely different and hadn't been done before. That's kind of how it should be, but not like these like quote unquote remakes like Resident Evil or the Crash Bandicoot collection.
That's what we call a different kind of that's a reboot. And I
Reboot.
accept those. Those are fine and
Yeah,
dandy by me.
Reboots are good, but remakes and remasters. Sometimes, back in we're in the era of we're kind of in that era right now, like where there's a load of remasters, remakes, and reboots. And my problem is like it started off innocent enough on like the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It was just like HD remasters of PS2 games, which were innocent enough. There was a lot of thought put into them, like the remasters. But as we go on now, like in the gaming era that we're in, it's being done too much. Like if you want to play those games, go play them on emulation or the old systems. We have all these big beefy PCs that we all have bought. Can we please get a new game, like a new entry or a reboot in the series where like it looks like an entirely new game with a new story rather than just that?
That's the big issue is that it's another case of studios kind of were like we'll go ahead and toss that out there and see if anyone bites. People bit. They said I love game that I played as a kid, but now much better graphics. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can I please have another? And
Yeah.
studio said you know what? We'll pump out plenty, dude. Like look at Atari. Just as a quick example. I don't know what the fuck they're making nowadays, but they've made another fucking vault or bundle or whatever where it's just their old fucking games. But it's like, whoa, look, they're on modern PC. Wow, you can play them now. It's like, why the fuck would I care, dude?
Bro, I can play Pitfall on my freaking computer now.
Aren't you so excited, dude?
I think I think the comparison to what I said earlier was if you look at Resident Evil 4 quotation marks remake, the same game, but if you look at Resident Evil Village, that was a very good new entry in the Resident Evil series. Why can't we just get more of that?
Because creativity is bankrupt nowadays.
I think most of these studios do that. I hesitate because I'm not in the game industry to say that the reason why they do this is to try and get buckets of money to fund their new entries. But I don't think that's remotely true. I think they just want money.
Yeah, no, I believe it's that as well. It's a safe bet as well, you know?
Yeah, like people be like people go nuts for these Resident Evil remakes. Like, and I will admit I had fun with Resident Evil 4, but I had fun because it was Resident Evil 4 that I played as a kid, but it looked better. But like, I'm getting a bit tired of it now, and I think a lot of people are getting a bit tired of these remasters and remakes. We want either reboots or new entries because it's just tiresome now.
That's how I feel about it.
Too many.
Optional. Touch on emulation for speedrunning and glitch exploitation. You ever play Time Splitters?
Oh, stop that.
I
Ben's
never
not
heard
here.
of that game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
See, I've
Time
used
Splitters
emulation.
remake coming out next week. What?
Time Splitters
I've-
remake.
I've done speedrunning on emulation. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but like, yeah, it's a super helpful tool for speedrunning. Like, I used to do Super Mario 64 runs, and like, the emulation is very helpful because doing it on the original console, especially with that controller. Even like with the remade controllers, it can be very difficult, like for certain glitches. So emulation is good for speedrunning. I like it.
I have nothing else to add to it. Maybe it's good because when you fucking get mad at not getting that 0.1 second, instead of popping out the disc and chucking it against the wall, you can just smash your fucking keyboard and have your keycaps fly all over.
Oh, like Ben?
Smash
Yeah,
the
I agree.
computer.
Who's been?
Yeah, who is he? Ben Killer. Who is he?
All right, on to the next topic. The future of emulation. Discuss how emulation can influence game development and remakes. Which I'm pretty sure we already did.
Yeah. If you want like the indie perspective of that, have any of you guys ever been to like I don't want to say game conventions because it's not a game. Have any of you guys ever been to, like retro game markets or anything like that by any chance? No?
I've been to
Okay.
like retro game stores, never like markets though.
So when I've been to a few retro game markets, and I was actually talking this like a year or two ago. I was like looking for some old games, looking through the bins, and I came across this little pop up stall, and it was an indie game developer who basically was backporting all of his indie games onto like NES cartridges that actually legitimately worked in the stock console. I was asking him about that and like kind of like what does he think about like people trying to emulate games and that kind of thing. And he told me something very interesting about like game developers like using emulation as like inspiration. So for him, uh, he had a game, it was like a worm game or something, and like it blew up like in the indie game circle, and people were comparing it to some other, but they're comparing it to Worms, like the Worms game franchise by Team 17, and people are saying, oh that's like really cool, and like people were emulating the Worms games and also playing his game for like a more modern take on it. And he basically was using that kind of inspiration of porting like the Worms games to emulation to do like the NES cartridges for his game. That's the reason why he did it, is because of the people there's like a certain Worms game that you can't like they never brought to PC. I can't remember what one it was. It might have been the original OG Worms, and you couldn't find it anywhere. And he thought it was a good idea to offer that kind of thing for his indie game fans for his own games. So that's a real world example of emulation made someone want to make NES cards, I guess.
That's literally Bibble Babble.
Okay.
Thank you for the story. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Any other point to add to influence of game developments and remakes via emulation?
I think we're pretty good there.
Yeah, emulate specifically no, but I still think when a game gets remade, there's a chance for the developers to be able to add things they never could when they originally made the game due to time constraints. It's always a fun and interesting.
There are any games
Like
that do that?
there have been a few. I can't remember the most recent example. Uh, but I'd like to see it more happen. Happen a bit more. Most remakes nowadays are just the same game but slightly different with a lot of the like glitches gone and things like that. Uh except for, things that are like like you said, like a full reboot, like the fucking what's it called? Uh Able the fucking Oddworld. Like Oddworld is a full reboot, the most recent one. Uh but that's kind of like a similar to a remake in that devs are now able to do the story they might have more envisioned themselves wanting to do what they could originally, the original software.
Briefly mention cloud-based emulation services.
This will be a quick one because cloud-based emulation, such as PS Now, is quite literally doo-doo. The infrastructure available is not good. It's terrible. You get artifact and it's just not good. Emulation should. It's also kind of like Shadow PC, if you know what that is. Like, it's just certain things like that. Like PC are not meant to be played on the cloud. Like in that kind of quality, it's better if you play it on physical hardware, or obviously PC. PC's a lot better
Yeah,
than using it on the cloud.
I agree with that. I don't think there's any real good cloud-based emulation services, to be honest. Like it's all just they try their best, obviously, but none of them can really reach that the same kind of quality you would have on original hardware or via emulation, uh, with a standalone software. Speculate on the future of game preservation through emulation. I think I already talked about that with the games
Yeah,
in the
already covered that.
future. Yeah, games in the future, you won't really need emulation because they're going to be pretty much available on computer or on devices, such. All right, we're on to the outro. Call to action. Briefly summarize the key points about emulation. Go ahead, everyone. Why don't you summarize what you felt uh, about emulation? Did any of your stances change?
Not really, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I kind of my stance probably won't change just through experiences. But like, it was good to hear your little thought process there on gray areas of games and abandoned world. Though that was interesting.
Yeah, like it was probably mentioned when I wasn't here, but I do like emulation for the fact of being able to let people still play things that are no longer supported or no longer have the hardware available for purchase readily, like things on fucking Nintendo DS or the Wii, anything like that, or even GameCube. Like a lot of those games, just you can't get the hardware to play them anymore. So emulation is just a nice option for being able to still play old games that you really liked.
Yeah, and experience games that you have yet to ever try. What about you,
Yeah.
Red Rage or Retro?
For me, I guess I would probably say when it comes to emulation, um, I think it's a very cool thing that you can do that with your PC nowadays. And, it's just a really nice way to be able to get into a lot of games that you either weren't able to get into before or games you maybe want to replay again. But now with the added enhancement of playing it on your PC.
Yeah, I agree with that. My final viewpoints of it is that I don't think it should be something that's overdone. I'm very, I guess in my eyes, I'm neutral towards it, which is that you shouldn't download every single possible game. Be like, oh, look at me, I could play all of these if I wanted to. Of course, if you have the original disc, I think that's I think it's grounds for being able to emulate it. But at some points, I also feel like, you know, it's not correct to emulate. It's theft, of course, but um, it's in such a area that everyone's doing it. Again, doesn't make it right, but it's like, you know, if people aren't going to get cracked down on as harshly, it kind of propositions why wouldn't you emulate? That's kind of my outlook of it, is that if there's so many people who are doing this without being strike down by companies or being prosecuted by the law, why not explore the games that you wish you could? Just my opinion about it. But
I'd
all
say
right,
that's fair.
I guess that's the Bibble Babble podcast. Sorry, Xeno, that you came in a little bit too late. It sounds like you had some good little opinions upon it. Is there anything
We
else?
always have opinions.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap this sucker up?
No.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Red Rage. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Retro, and thank you, Xeno, for being on the Bibble Babble podcast. If you're watching the Bibble Babble podcast, make sure to go check out the other episodes, or maybe even go check out Within the Flesh if you want to, I don't know, learn about your fucking emotions and how fucked up you are, idiot.
I was in the last group one of those.
See, it was. But that's gonna be it. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. I love you. Toodaloo and boo bye.
I have opinions.